What is really happening behind the scenes of the international discussions on Ukraine? Why are two major proposals, one from the United States and one from the European Union, suddenly showing significant differences? And perhaps the most important question, what do these changes mean for the negotiation process moving forward? In the past weeks, international diplomacy has intensified. A number of political figures in Washington and Brussels have been trying to finalize a comprehensive framework aimed at reducing tension in Eastern Europe. But now the situation has become far more complex than it initially appeared. Two documents, both containing 28 points, were expected to align closely with each other. Yet the newly reviewed texts reveal significant discrepancies, differences in security guarantees, military restrictions, and approaches to the future of Ukraine. Why did these differences appear? Are they the result of political caution, internal disagreements, or strategic calculations? And what impact could this have on the path toward a potential settlement? Today, we take a detailed look at these developments, calmly, neutrally, and with a focus on facts. Let's break down what the U.S. plan suggests, how the EU revised it, and where both documents diverge in ways that could influence the next stage of negotiations. Recent reports reveal that Washington and Brussels have both crafted 28-point plans for a long-term settlement, but they differ in key areas. For instance, the U.S. suggests a broad agreement involving Russia, Ukraine, and Europe, while the EU opts for NATO, shifting the oversight dynamics. When it comes to Ukraine's military size, the U.S. proposes a cap of 600,000 troops, but the EU raises it to 800,000, showing a more flexible stance. NATO's role is another hot topic. The U.S. wants Ukraine to commit to not joining NATO, while the EU leaves that decision up to NATO consensus. On military presence, the EU clarifies that NATO won't station troops in Ukraine during peacetime, a point the U.S. doesn't address. Economically, the U.S. suggests lifting sanctions on Russia outright, while the EU talks about easing them gradually. And when it comes to using frozen Russian assets for reconstruction, the U.S. wants a cut of the profits, but the EU doesn't mention this at all. These differences highlight the contrasting approaches of the U.S. and EU, with the U.S. favoring a structured plan and the EU leaning towards a more gradual method. The uncertainty from Kyiv could complicate matters further, as all eyes are on whether these three can come together for a unified proposal.